this video, I'm going to talk about user object available within the liquid language. Now, user object basically is an entity object. It refers to the current portal user. So the user who is logged in, it will give you some information about that user. Now, if the user is not signed in, the value returned is null. So user object. So what does the user object return? The user object returns the full name, the first name, the last name, the ID, roles, or it gives you the basic badges URL as a component. Now you can operate upon that component and perform various logic within your Power Pages site. So take for example, if the user is logged in, then do this. If user is not logged in, do that. Or you get the user's full detail and greet the user, or you extract the user ID and then perform some manipulation in the backend dataverse table, or maybe check the role of the user and then appropriately display or show or hide some component within the Power Pages site. So these are some of the use cases which you can use alongside the user object. So let's jump into the demo. So in the demo, I will show you the page which I have created. So this is a page, December page which I have created. So this is a Power Pages site. Here is a December page which I have created. I clicked on edit code and I navigated to the Visual Studio web. Now we are going to write down the user object from here. Now, before we even do anything, first thing you need to do is like you go into the Power Pages site and make sure that you log in. So I'm already logged in. That's why it is showing me my name over here. I can sign out and then I can even show you that operation. So I'll do that in this demo. So first thing, what we are going to do is first we are going to display the user's first name. Okay, so user's first name is Girish over here. So how do you write that code? You go into the backend and you just put double curly braces and directly use that object, user object. So user. So let's see what happens when you just type in user. Okay, and you see this object. I'll just save this. I'm just typing user. Okay, and I'll do a sync. So it's important that you play around with various objects and see what does that object returns, because this is important when you're programming using the liquid programming language. This will help you understand the object model and then the return parameter of that particular object as well. So what we have done, we have just written a code and we just type in user. Okay, there's nothing else in it. It's just user. It's just a user object. We just want to see what does that user object returns. So as you see over here, we don't get any output, right? Now how do we extract the component out of that user object? So simple thing, if you want to extract the component out of that user object, you just take this and you just say user dot first name. So, and I'll just put a br tag just to separate out the component. So I put a br tag user dot first name. So this is how you can extract the user's first name. Second thing, if you want to extract the user's last name, you can extract using this. So user dot last name. Other thing which you can extract is user dot id. So user dot id. Can we extract the email of the user? Let's see that. Okay, so I'll just type in user dot email. So we have written user dot first name, user dot last name, and the other thing which we can get is user dot full name as well. So I'll just type in user dot full name. So this is, we are talking about user object. So user object gives you the contextual user who is logged into the system, and it will extract the details or the properties of the current logged in user. Now this logged in user is basically an active directory user. So I've logged into the Power Pages site. As you see over here, it is logged in as a Power Pages site. In the display, now in the preview, you will not see the output. You will just see first name, last name, John Doe, ID and email. But in the output, when the actual user is logged in, here you will see the output. Now you'll see the first name, the last name, the full name, and the ID of that particular user. So the ID of that particular user is DAA705AB. Okay. Okay. Let's go into the backend. Now as you see over here, this is the backend table, right? So this is the backend table, and now also we have added something user.email, and we haven't got any information from here, right? Now let's go into the contact table. Now I have gone to this contact table. Now in contact table I have whole bunch of contact. Now let's say full name filter contains Girish. Now, as you see over here, this is a contact table. It's not a user table, it's a contact table, and the output I'm carrying is DAA705. And if you see the code over here, DAA705, so that means it is pointing to the contact table and not the user table. Although it is the code is from the user object, but then it is pointing to the contact table. Now here in the contact table I can go ahead and change the information. So take for example, if I can change the information as Girish Uppal. I have this contact, I have this email address, I have this company name. Now this email, if I go into the backend, so full name, okay, so full name, if I go to edit column and I go to full name and say full name, right, as a logical name. Now email, if I just go into edit column, I go to advanced option, it says email address one. Okay. Now this is the logical name, email address one. So let's do one thing. I'll just say email address one. So this, I'm just playing around with this. Okay. So let's see if it gives you any output. If we are mapping the logical name, I'll just sync this. And now, as you see over here, it has given me the email address. So what? There are two things which we have done from this particular research. One is this is not a user table in the backend. When I say user table in the backend is, I'll just go show you in Power Apps. If you go into the backend, if you are logged into the current environment, there are a couple of tables. So there is a table in the backend named as Azure Active Directory or Enter ID table, which is basically a user table. So if you just type in user over here, you will see a table, a user table, which is a system user table, which is basically getting all the contacts, person with access to the Microsoft CRM system who owns object in the Microsoft CRM database. So that is a user table. And then there is a contact table. Now we have extracted the contact table value. And then from here, I have taken the logical name of email, and I've seen the logical name of email is email address one. And then if I iterate through that object, then I'm getting that value. So similarly with that logic, I can extract any component. I can extract the company name, I can extract the business phone, I can extract whatever value I want. So if I want to extract the county or country, so say take for example, this is the country of that user. Now country is, I don't have any value over here, so let me put in Australia over here. And if I just go to edit column and go to advanced option, I can copy this address one underscore country, and I will go ahead in my liquid. I'll just copy this, and instead of email address one, this time I'm gonna paste address one underscore country and see whether I'll be able to extract that component as well or not. Go to sync. So now you can see that I can extract the country as well. So that means what we have concluded over here is like from the contact table, I can extract any column just by going into the column and selecting the logical name and putting this as a parameter for the user object. I will be able to extract any value, right? So these are some of the ways through you can use the user object. Now there are other things which you can extract from the user object. Is there is something called as user dot basic underscore badges underscore URL. So if you want to extract the badge URL, you can go ahead and do that, right? So I've just written this code, synchronize this, and get the URL of the pages. As you see over here, it has given me the URL underscore services badges, and then this is D79, this is GUID, and then this is GUID, and then it is basic underscore badges. So I can extract that basic badges URL as well. Now, what happens if I just log out of this? Okay, so if I just sign out of this particular website, and if I go into this particular user object, so if I go to all objects and go to user object, or the December page, then as you see over here, it is not returning me any value. So that means it is contextual. So if you log into your Active Directory just by doing sign in with an external account, Microsoft Enter ID, then you will be able to see the output of the page. But if you're not logged in, you will not be able to see anything. Also, the last thing what you can do is like you can check whether if the user is an administrator or not. For that, you need to basically use something else. You cannot use this double brace, so you just need to use a single brace. So I'll just put a single brace, percent sign, and then you just write this if code. You just say if user dot roles contains, if the user dot roles contains administrator, okay, then you do something. You can just say user is admin, user is administrator, okay, and you just put a %sign again, and this is basically else. You just say user is not an admin, user is not admin, and you just say end if. So you just need to close that end if. So %end if percent. So this is how you can write a piece of code. So it says if user.roles contains administrator, if user is an administrator, then display this text, else display this text. Else and if, close it properly. Let's see whether this user is an admin or not. So I just run this code. And based on the logic, it will tell you that user is not an admin. So I'm not an admin in the system, and that's why it is giving me this value as user is not an admin. If I had been admin, it would have run that code and it would have given me user is administrator. So this is also one of the way through which you can check the roles to which the user belongs to. So that's it, folks. This is all about user objects within the Power Pages Liquid. Thanks for watching.